Dear students, good morning to all. Today we have to learn the remaining characteristics of watershed. As you know that in the previous lectures we have covered many characteristics of watershed. In this chapter or in this topic we have to cover the geology and soils, hydrology and socio-economic characteristics of watershed. So let us see which are those. So as you know that there is a variation in the characteristics of watershed, and there are many things by which there is a differences in the characteristics of watershed. So similarly, geology and soils of watershed are also varied. Geology of the area determines the soil type of particular area. Geology is nothing but the study of the earth crust or the strata or the layers of the rocks of the earth. Every watershed have its own and unique geology. Geological processes are dynamic. According to the type of rocks, the soils are formed. Which type of rocks are there, accordingly there is the formation of rocks. Means if hard rocks are there, which requires more time to get disintegrated, so it forms a coarser soil. While as if soft rocks are there, then fine and soft soils are formed. Primary and secondary type of rocks determine the subtypes of soils. Means what? If the rocks are formed from the primary rocks, then they are harder, and if they are formed from the secondary rocks, they are softer. Physical, chemical and biological properties of soils are determined by geology. Parent material controls the physical and biological properties of soil. It is said that parent penetrate their characteristics in their next generation. In the similar way, rocks are even formed according to the parent rock of the particular area, while biological properties controlled by vegetation, which is the result of geology. Means whatever the biological characteristics are there, which is completely controlled by the vegetation of the particular area, and that vegetation is ultimately controlled by the geology. The major types of soil, that means zonal and azonal, are completely depend on geology of the watershed. If the rocks are formed from the from the rocks which are available in the main area, then these are zonal. And if the rocks are formed or the soils are formed from the another area of the rocks, then they are called azonal soils. So there is a change in the soils. Second characteristic is hydrology. Hydrology is the study of water. Hydrology includes rainfall, precipitation, rivers, seas, oceans, estuaries, springs, and channels. It is very important characteristics of watershed. There is a plenty of water, but it is not evenly distributed, as well as it is not rightly available on time and rightly quality. It is the well-known fact that although water is plenty, but that is not evenly distributed, and at the same time, somewhere there is a full of water or there is a plenty of water, while somewhere there is a scarcity of the water. And similar characteristics also found in the watershed even, because some watersheds are perennial, while as some watersheds are seasonal and some are completely dried. The hydrology covers surface water and groundwater. This also shows unevenness. Somewhere there is a full of surface water, but there is a lack of groundwater. Somewhere there is a full of groundwater, but there is a lack of surface water. So this shows the differences in the hydrology. In the development of watershed, hydrology has a vital role. One should know the qualitative and the quantitative characteristics of hydrology of watershed, because if you want to do the development of watershed, we should know the hydrology of watershed, because we have to know the quality as well the quantity and the locations of the availability of that water. Means where are the rivers, where are the seas, oceans, and where are the more rainfall occurrence and more precipitation in the particular area. Example is how much is the potential of watershed, average rainfall is there, how much is the average temperature, need of water, how much is the need of water, supply, how this water, available water is supplied to the people, supplied to the irrigation and supplied to the industries. Distribution and future demand of water should be known by the by the experts so that we can do the detailed study of the hydrology of particular watershed. So this is all about the hydrology. Next one is socio-economic. This includes society and economy, that means funds. As you know that watershed development ultimately done for the society. It gives preference to the welfare of the society. Ultimate aim of the development of the watershed is the welfare of the society, and it includes need of drinking water, requirement of irrigation and industries are fulfilled through the watershed development. So contribution of society in the development of watershed is important. People's participation is an integral part of watershed development. And in a simple words, no any outsider will come and act as a reformer. As per the individual's capacity, he or she should involve in the development. Example of this is that is Ralegan Siddhi, which is very ideal and very popular in this regards, as well as Hure Bazar is an ideal example of social contribution in watershed. If we visit to these two places, we will come to know that there is a direct participation of the peoples. Every member of the family, every citizen of the village is engaged, is involved and get participated in the development of watershed. So it is very important, that is society, engagement of the society in the development of watershed is important. Government of Maharashtra has started the scheme of watershed development, that is Jalayukta Shivar, and particularly in the western Maharashtra this scheme is too much implemented, and nowadays it get benefited to the farmers, not only farmers but to the society, whole society of the particular area. This scheme is completely depend on people's participation. Involvement of society is important in this scheme. Unless and until the society is not involved in any developmental part or developmental scheme, that scheme will be failure. So society's societal participation is very important in the important characteristics of watershed. Next is economy. Watershed development requires a fund for many purposes. Although it requires a societal participation, but every developmental work requires a money, or it requires a fund. It includes leveling, terracing, construction, maintenance, rehabilitation, displacement and staff maintenance. Central and state government contributing their ratio of expenditure, but still it is very less. So economic contribution of banks, NGOs and firms is important. If any village or area have no capacity to bear the money, then they can contribute their physical work. We can't stop our work because only money is not important. We can do the role, we can perform the role by many ways. Example is Pani Foundation is the institute of actor Amir Khan, which is performing in this way. Poor and jobless people earn some money through this foundation. NAM is the organization of Nana Patekar and Makarand Anaspuri, which is ideal example of NGO, which supports for economy of the development of watershed. Some people can arrange equipment and instruments for this work. Example is tractor, JCB and etc. If some people are there who wants to contribute their role, contribute their participation, they can do these things. Means if they have no any equipments even, they can do the physical work for the development of that particular watershed, and thus contributing their physical activity, contributing their physical involvement, they can helps to that particular watershed. Thus these are the main characteristics of watershed. So whatever the characteristics are there, we have focused on the same, and these are very important characteristics of watershed. So this topic is over. Today we stop here. Thank you very much.